Hola clase, hoy es jueves, el 29 de octubre. I am doing 2 lectures today, one today and one tomorrow. So I divided our days up. Normally I give you 2 days at a time. Today and tomorrow, I'll just give those two separately just because there's a lot of notes today, okay? And tomorrow. All right, here we go. El plan para hoy es, ustedes van a escuchar y cantar, to listen to and sing los 7 días de la semana. That's the 7 days of the week. Also, you're going to take notes on numbers larger than 30. We're going to do that today in our packet. So you can see it right here. It's on la página 6, page 6 in your packet. Okay. You need to take notes on that. There are 2 pages that we're going to do today. Okay. Also, there are going to be a couple of VHLcentral.com activities for you to do. Those are on slide numero 4. It looks like we're going to practice those big numbers and check answers. We'll do that, and that's part of the number practice. And then I want you to study Quizlet number 4. So that Quizlet set, you'll be doing that today. Okay, so here we go. We have Doña Semana. This is that song, Doña Semana tiene 7 días. And you go through each of the days. We need to know all of these by heart. So repeat with me. Repite, por favor. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. Muy bien. Okay. So, and here's the words it goes. Mrs. Week has 7 days, and she lists them, and then Sunday to the end, that's a little dance, and it repeats. So you can play that when you go through the slideshow a little bit later, okay? All right, these are the activities that you're going to complete in VHLcentral.com. They are due tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. They are contextos, so dealing with days of the week and schedule stuff. There's going to be a little reading comprehension in the horario. Days of the week is just saying like, ¿qué día es hoy? ¿Qué día fue ayer? What day was yesterday? And just going based upon that. And then there's a little bit of listening, and that's with our vocab. So you might want to have your vocab packet out on the front page. We have vocab and notes. On the very, very front, we have all that vocab here. So you could use this vocab to help you do that activity before you start it. So, and remember, you can listen to it a couple of times, I think. If you have any problems with that, just email me and we can reset it, okay? Bueno, vamos a empezar con los números más grandes que 30. That's the biggest, numbers way bigger than 30. So we're going to be able to, up until now, we've only come up to 30. You might have gone all the way up to 100 in 8th grade, but now we're going even higher. Even we can count as high as you can go. So let's start going through the numbers 31 through 100. First of all, we wanted to take the decades or the tens and start out with 30. So you can either do this later on with notes, or you can pause this each time. But we have 30 is the first one, 30. Then we have 40. Just write this in your notes. And I am going to go kind of at a quick clip or speed. And so if this is too fast for you to write your notes, you can always pause it anytime you want. Write stuff down, okay? 50. And we have 60. 70. So there's a little difference between 60 and 70 because there's a T here and there's an S here. 80. 90 y 100. Okay, 100 means 100. So make sure you get those in your notes. Then when we talk about numbers 31 and higher, the word E or and is used in most numbers 31 through 99. Unlike numbers 21 through 29, these numbers must be written as 3 separate words. So before we in our 20s, we could say 22, 23, 24, 25, all as one word. Now we have to write them out as 3 separate words. So look at the example. There are 92 exams. We would say remember that word I means there is, there are. Hay 92 exámenes. So you have to write it as 3 words. So it's like 90 and 2, 92. And then this one, here, I gotta move myself. There are 42 students, would be hay 42 estudiantes. Again, 3 different words. All right. With numbers that end in uno, then, uno becomes un before a masculine noun and una before a feminine noun. much in the same way that we treated our indefinite articles. Remember, and some? Well, we do the same thing with numbers. So let's look at an example here. We have 30, there are 31 boys. We say, hay 31 chicos. There are 31 girls. Hay 31 chicas. So, chicos and una chicas. Then, 100 is used before nouns and in counting. The words, so whenever we say, if you're counting up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get to 100, it's just 100, okay? Or we'd say just on the dot. If it's just 100, then we say 100. The words una, and uno are never used before 100, okay? But as soon as we go, this means 100, but if we have hundreds, a couple of hundreds, we say the word cientos. Cientos means hundreds, plural. So 100 is just 100, and then if you have more than 100, like 200s, 300s, 400s, we would say 200, 300, 400. All right, so let's get to this then. So here are notes, starting with 101. So after 100, really between the word, listen to this carefully, between 101 and 199, we say ciento. You only use the word 100, like we talked about, just for 100 even. But as soon as you go over 100, instead of saying 100, now we say ciento. So we have 101, and you don't use an E between the hundreds and ones place, only between the tens place and the ones place. Then, like I said before, we had 200, so that's 200. So you have 200, 300, and look how they can become feminine too, and that's if we're using them as an adjective before a noun. Then I'm sure you can guess we have 400. But then look with 500. There are going to be three irregulars, 500, 700, and 900, because you can't just write out the single digit anymore, because we don't have a cinco here. It's quin, and it's quinientos, so that's irregular. So make a star on your notes. I star next to your 500. It's quinientos. Then we go back to normal, regular, 600. And then here's another irregular. It's 700. The reason why it's irregular is because there's no I here for siete, so it's just 700. Then back to regular again, 800. And then, like I said, we have 500, 700, 900 are irregular. This is 900, like noventa, but instead of nueve, we say 900, okay? Then we're going to get over to our thousands. We get bigger. The word for thousand is just a three little word, and it's mil. Mil just means thousand. Here's 1100, that's 1,100. So 1,100 is 1100. Here we have not 1,000, but 2,000. So notice we don't add es at the end of meal. It's just 2,000. So I bet you can guess what 5,000 is going to be. You got it, 5,000. Here we have 100,000. So we'd say 100,000. Here's 200,000. We would say 200,000, because that's 200,000, okay? So then we get a little more complex with, here's 550,000. We're going to say, remember that word quinientos for 500? So 550,000. So 550,000. To write 1 million, un millón, and you put an accent over that O, only when it's 1 million. And then if you're talking about 1 million people or 1 million boys, $1 million, then we add day. If you're counting, you don't need it, only when you have a noun following. So if I want to say $1 million, I would say un millón de dólares. Or 1 million boys would be un millón de chicos. Here's 8 million. Now, as soon as you make it plural million, we do add es with the million, but the accent drops off. So if I want to say $8 million, you'd say 8 millones de dólares. Again, if you're just counting, of course, you don't need those days. All right. So as we look at, here's some more notes. And so remember, when we just, to kind of summarize, remember, 100 is just just 100, but over 100, we use cientos, okay? So here's some examples. In the hundreds, we could say 110, that's 110. 118 is 118. Y 150 is 150. All right. Okay, that's pretty. Okay. Oh my. I guess we're doing that a couple of times. All right. We gotta keep going. Okay. All right. Now the numbers 200 through 999 agree in gender with the nouns they modify. Some examples of that would be we have 324 plumas. So this is a feminine word. It means pens. And so now we have to agree in gender with our hundreds. Look at this. So we have 300, because that goes with plumas, 324 plumas. Again, here now we have libros, our hundreds. Remember, these are just for 200 through 999, have to agree in gender with libros, that's books, okay? So we have 3,505 libros, so 500 libros. To express a complex number, string together all of its components, starting with the biggest, just like we do in English. You're starting out with the biggest numbers first. So we have 55,000. So 55 would be 55,000. Then mil will kind of denote, notice that there's a decimal here instead of a comma. In Spanish, when they talk about big numbers, they use a decimal point to tell us where the thousands are and the 100,000s and the millions. So when I say 55,000, then you want to put a dot. So 55,422. Okay. Now, using your notes, I want you to write out the Spanish equivalent of each of these numbers. We're going to do these together, a couple of them, 1 through 6, and then you're going to do 7 through 12 on your own and check them. So número uno, because there's no number above 0 in the tens place, we just make it simple and we say 102, not 102, because there's a 0 in the tens place. All right, then here we have 5 millones. The next one is 201. Again, there's no E here because there's a 0 in the tens place. Then we have E here because there's tens and ones here. So 76, 92. And then there's a really, really big one. So we start out with 300. So 550,000 is 550,300. Again, 550,000. Again, when you hear mil, that's where you're going to put a decimal, and then 300. Okay, I'm going to have you try these next ones. So pause right now. I want you to try writing out numbers 7 through 12. So 235, 79, 113, 88, 17,123, and 497 using your notes, and see if your answers will match what we have on the next slide. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next slide now and check your answers. All right. Okay, so you can pause it there. See, I'll go back. Hold on a second. You can pause it right there. Okay. All right, let's go on. So daily checklist for today was, remember, after you're done with this, you need to go through and still complete vhlcentral.com, the 3 assigned contextos activities. You're also going to, well, we already practiced those large numbers using the slide, so we're good. And then don't forget to study Quizlet set number 4. That's that monster. We have a test coming up at the end of November, and that'll be our last test. Our last unit test would be the Lección 2. So go ahead and try to get some of those activities done if you could. And that is it for today. Hasta luego. Ciao.